but we're going to go ahead and bring in our first guests for the show today. Like we said, we've got Barry Popp and Harry Carver here to talk about the Franklin County Flood Relief Fund. Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
All right.
Very important topic, one that has been of interest to a lot of people here in town and our community, is the Franklin County Relief Fund. So first of all, tell me kind of what organization you all are with and how the fund came about.
Sure. We're with the Franklin County Community Fund. It's been established for a while, and historically we've been an endowed fund for Franklin County. People make donations that last a legacy. They're in the endowment for a while. Right. But through that program, we also have unendowed funds we can set up, which is where the Flood Relief Fund was established and all that.
This is similar to what we did during COVID, because we recognized that a lot of our local nonprofits were struggling to provide the services to folks that needed them during COVID, and we were able to raise about $40,000 to help all those nonprofits that were being stretched to the limit by COVID. So this is a similar thing, only on a little bit larger scale.
For sure. So we had been talking, like, you know, when the water started to rise, and this was set up, and they set up the QR code and the website, or you know, the bit.ly FC Flood Relief. So people started donating money. So what is this money going towards?
This, you know, one of the things about flooding and recovering from a flood is it doesn't happen overnight. It's long term. And we've talked to folks in eastern Kentucky with the Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky that have managed flood relief funds there, and tried to get a sense of how it works, you know, and you know, because right now what we're focusing on is, you know, people's immediate needs. I mean, we want to make sure that people are safely housed, and that's first and foremost, because there's a lot of folks that, you know, that are trying to stay in houses that they probably shouldn't be in, that don't have the resources to go somewhere. So we want to make sure that people are, you know, for this short term, or you know, safely housed, and then working towards, you know, if it's going to take 6 months to get their house repaired, where are they going to go and how are they going to do that? But like I said, right now it's all about immediate need.
Okay.
So that.
No, you're good. I was just going to say, as a board, we have reached out to the Appalachian situations, and we understand there's a budget process for this, and people are saying we need money, we need. Yes, you need now, but there's going to be more needs down the road. This is not an overnight fix.
Okay.
So as our board has met, we talk about what the process is going to be, and we gave our first donation out of the fund to ROSM, who is partnering with the multi-agency resource center.
Yes.
I think it's the mark.
It's the mark.
And we're going to hit the mark, and we're going to help these folks in stages. It's not going to be an overnight fix. We're not going to give all the money out immediately. Money is still trickling in. I think this morning our balance, Harry, was
$135,000.
Oh,
wow.
And that was over 1,000 individual donors.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And we're expecting, and the exciting part is that it's not over. I mean, people are still contributing. I know Susie, that was going to be on later, was talking about efforts that are going on around the community that she's aware of. And also that we've talked to a number of corporate folks, so we expect, you know, a lot more to come in.
Yeah.
One of the things about, and I want to talk about the initial award of $50,000 that we wanted to get out the door. The other day, the CARES Coalition met, and ROSM is a part of the CARES Coalition, and we wanted to talk about, as a group, this is the CARES Coalition is a group of, you know, our community nonprofits that you know, provide human services, and what was the best way to meet this immediate need, given, you know, so what ROSM, because people trust ROSM, it's been around for a long time, they're accustomed to doing, you know, dealing with individuals, so that we felt that they were the best vehicle for that part of it. There will be additional resources that are going to the CARES Coalition to be distributed as needed to organizations that will help reimburse the cost incurred by different nonprofits that have already jumped in and were helping people along the way. So both of those things are going on right now. The application was finished yesterday. So this morning, the application for flood relief for individuals will be available at the Mark Center.
Okay.
And what we hope folks will do is when they go up there for assistance, and it will be online too, and I'm not sure where.
Okay.
But that.
Well, we'll find out and tell them.
Yeah,
So, but, you know, we want to make sure that when folks, you know, come up there and are looking for, you know, assistance, that we know exactly what it is they need, so that if there are other entities out there that are providing those needs, that it won't, we want to marshal our resources. We want to make sure that, and we've been a little bit stymied in terms of the immediate relief by the fact that, the president hasn't signed the emergency order for individual assistance. So usually we have FEMA in helping people, individuals early on. So that's, but we've been lucky. I mean, our community is so generous, and we've been so lucky to have people available to provide, support early on.
Well, and that's something that people bring up all the time over the years is how generous the people of Frankfort and Franklin County are. And when they need a helping hand, there's usually somebody there that's willing to help or throw money towards the organization. And I think it's important. You guys have been doing a good job online and here today of helping share with folks what the fund is set up to do, because I think I've seen that there's lots of confusion everywhere in all corners of the world and the internet, but I know there's been some confusion about where the money is going, and it's not just all being thrown to American Red Cross or wherever.
And I think people need to people need to pay attention. If I had a superpower, it'd be to cut the BS on Facebook.
There you go.
That's a great one. Honestly, that's a great one.
If you or Facebook, maybe before you post something, it has a 3-hour lag and say, do you really want to say that?
Right.
But
I'm kicking it back. Like,
it's because people say stuff that's not true, and it's hurtful because people get pointed in the wrong direction or think something's not happening or something's not available to them, and it just it really and it's people that should know better, which makes it even worse. Pick up the phone and call somebody. People around town, find out what's going on. So but in the greater scheme of things, but the city government, county government, all the folks that work in those, the judge, the mayor, everybody has just been working on this together, and it's and individuals and everybody, the outpouring has just been remarkable.
Yes.
And so I think we should be happy. I mean, it's one of the good things to come out of this flood is to realize what how strong our community really is and how people really do care.
Absolutely.
And the more agencies are fine, we just got to figure out how to work together. And I think that's the end goal, is not the banter back and forth, but how are we going to make the most impact? And I think our fund, from the very get-go, I think we had $1,000 an hour. I mean, it was crazy for the first little bit, which is a blessing for our community. But I think as long as the mark, if we can hit the mark and all the agencies kind of collaborate, we can get through this. And I know the cliche, we get through it together. But the agencies can pull together and make sure they're not overlapping, make sure they're... And the good thing is, or not the good thing, but part of this is to realize that it's long-term. You got to manage your resources, and you got to manage the timing of them. And I think that's the biggest thing we've got to get out there. Yes, we've got $135,000, but we don't want to immediately just give that today and then we got to start fresh. We want to budget that, and as it grows, we'll budget differently. So just knowing that we're working together with the agency.
I'm sure it's just frustrating for people who do have immediate needs and they don't know what to do, where to go.
One of our board members, or two of our board members, are very affected, and they were in the board meeting. They were very vocal on trying to make sure we're doing this the right way. Not just for them. They may be a little more blessed than others, but there are folks that lost so much and they don't know what to do. They don't know where to turn. So the mark is really important for those folks. Hey, if you need some help, assistance, go here, fill out the application, and we'll figure out what we can do. But without any direction, they're just lost. And it's important to give direction.
Because this has been really the magnitude of this flood. I mean, for those of us that live in the floodplain, you have some expectation that something's in it, and so and it's, even though it's not pleasant, and I'm lucky. I have flood insurance. I've resources to take care of this. A lot of people this time were hit in areas that they would not know and don't have flood insurance and don't have the experience dealing with it. So we want to make sure that that these folks are taken care of and they have the help that they need.
Absolutely.
And we've been talking about the multi-agency resource center. Remind folks again, like we talked about earlier, it's on 827 Louisville Road.
That's right.
It's a good resource for folks as well. And we do still want to tell folks to donate. Right?
Yeah, please.
We've got that there. There's the shortened link there as well, and I believe we have a QR code. There you go. So you can hit that, and you can just hop on Facebook or Google that, and you'll be able to find the website.
And
very easily.
As Barry was talking about, in terms of how how the funding is allocated over time. in talking to the folks in Eastern Kentucky, some of those floods were several years ago, and they're still dispersing funds for people.
Wow.
You know, because housing is not an overnight thing.
No.
So, you know, people need to keep that in mind. There's going to be, you know, for the next couple of years, there's going to be a need here.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, you mentioned that dollar amount, but that gets spent very quickly.
Yeah. And we don't want to lose any of our residents if they find somewhere else to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So we really need to keep them here.
And part of the difficult time is Derby time. You know, your Airbnbs, your hotels, they're all booked for Derby.
Yeah.
So where are people going to go?
Yeah.
So I think I think it's important to mention the mark is open from 9 a.m. to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you all may announce that later and many times, but my notes here say 9 to 7. So stop by there, fill out the application, let them know what's going on, and let them help track you through the process.
All right.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I believe, Harry, you've already answered our question of the day today a little bit, unless you've got a different one as well. But that's a really, really good one.
Yeah.
Barry, what comes to mind for you would be an everyday kind of superpower?
So I'm going to get outside the box. It's not strength. It's not flying. Mm-hmm. Something I stress to my kids and to young people that I speak with and mentor is communication.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of things can be solved through communication. Don't hold it in. Don't second guess yourself. Just communicate.
Yeah.
Whatever the situation is, I think everyday communication is key.
Good.
Yep.
That's
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
I'm looking at your coffee cup, and it says "Hey, girl" on it.
Hey, yes.
I need to know why.
Well, my Starbucks card is under my wife Susan's name.
Okay.
And of course, it's got Susan. And Jeremy there at Starbucks is awesome. I don't know if you know Jeremy.
Okay.
But he is very good about customer service and stuff. And somebody there always puts a note on the cup. And today it was just me, not Susan. And I got, "Hey, girl."
Hey, girl. Okay.
You know. Yeah.
Nice. Well, shout out Jeremy at Starbucks then.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, girl.
And I think that's a great answer to our question today as well. I like that. No, we'll check in on some of our other viewers' answers as well later on. But first, we got to get to our weather today from ABC 36 Storm Team meteorologist Dylan Godet. See what our weekend and into next week is looking like.